Welcome back. Controversy has sparked over Huntsville Hospital's acquisition of Crestwood Medical since the announcement last week. A lot of those concerns being aired out across social media. The responses we received were mixed. Locals say they are mainly concerned about healthcare quality, job security, and cost. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman has more.
After Huntsville Hospital announced they would be acquiring Crestwood Medical Center in a $450 million deal, many locals raising concerns about the future of healthcare in the Tennessee Valley. And many of those concerns dealing with the potential monopolization of healthcare in the area. With the HH system already having a massive presence, some say this deal could have an impact on their healthcare options. This is something we asked Huntsville Hospital about. In a statement, they say in part, patients will continue to have access to care at Crestwood Medical Center, which will remain open and operating as a local hospital serving the community.
Having a real proper monopoly in Huntsville would mean that there are fewer choices for consumers and for workers to go to get health care from or to sell their labor. And that means that that is going to give Huntsville Hospital that much more power over workers and patients.
Jacob Morrison, president of the North Alabama Area Labor Council, says accountability and oversight could be a step in the right direction.
I'm not necessarily opposed to a monopoly in healthcare if it's regulated. I mean, we have a monopoly in utilities, and actually it works really well. Right? I mean, the TVA produces all of the energy in the Tennessee Valley, and we have in the Tennessee Valley some of the cheapest and the most reliable energy in the country, literally in the country. Right? So monopolies are not always bad, but the TVA also has a lot of oversight. There's a lot of oversight there, and I'm not sure that that particularly with this deal that we're going to be getting that.
HH also addressed how the acquisition will impact jobs and pay for employees. They say in the immediate future, nothing is going to change. Crestwood employees can expect general operations to remain the same, as well as pay and benefits to remain comparable. In Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
We looked into the claims that consolidation of healthcare systems means consumers pay a higher price, and there are studies that support that notion. This one, last year, from the National Institutes of Health, found higher hospital concentration in markets with fewer insurers do tend to lead to rising healthcare costs. It concludes, quote, policymakers need to consider both of these market forces in addition to other factors when examining healthcare delivery markets, end quote. The Huntsville deal will be reviewed by federal regulators before it becomes official.
A massive fire in Town Creek sent one building up in flames yesterday at about 5 a.m., leaving just rubble in its wake. The Doublehead Resort lost one of its main common areas in the fire as crews wrestled with the inferno in the ice. The fire destroyed the entirety of the main lodge, which you can see here. The Lawrence County EMA reported no injuries in the fire, but it could take months before the resort fully recovers. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us the remains just one day later.
An early morning fire Saturday reduced the Doublehead Resort's main lodge to rubble as firefighters battling the flames faced the added challenge of icy weather. It took crews about 20 minutes to get here, about double their usual response time because the roads were iced over. The Alabama Department of Transportation and the Lawrence County Road Department treated county roads leading to the resort in a coordinated effort so that fire trucks could get here. The Red Bank Fire Department was the first crew on scene, and by that point the fire had already brought down the second story of the lodge. Early reports suggested that fire hydrants were frozen over, but the Red Bank Fire Department tells Fox 54 once they got here, the real challenge was low water pressure. They had to let the building burn as they did their best to contain the flames, calling several responding fire crews off the scene as they managed the inferno. Red Bank's Assistant Fire Chief, Frederick Freeman, was the first one on the scene. He tells me as other departments started to respond, it was all a team effort.
They came out with an assault truck and they came down to that where we was at fighting the fire, and then they made sure that our road, our fire station room was salt now too, so we had no problem getting that out. It was basically already gone. Our plan of attack was defensive in the office at that point.
The wreckage is still smoldering, even in the rain a day later, and the main lodge behind me was a complete loss. The cause of the fire is currently under investigation. In Town Creek, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Several crews responded to the fire as it happened. In addition to AlDOT and the County Road Department, Red Bank got help from the Cortland, Town Creek, and Hatton fire departments.
Limestone County judge made a ruling last week regarding the Belmina rock quarry, giving nearby residents hope after years of defeat. The judge ruled the preliminary injunction to be partially granted, forcing the quarry to move equipment and stop working at night. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman spoke with one community member who says they're feeling hopeful.
The rock quarry in Belmina is being ordered to take operations down a notch. Friday's partial preliminary injunction bars operations from happening from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. It also states machinery must be moved 1,200 feet from any residential property and trucks must stop blocking traffic. Locals have started to take notice.
I've seen a few people walking the grounds. I've seen some of the trucks moving around, and we've also noticed that the rock trucks that are coming to pick up loads are not as heavy, and so it's obvious that they have not been operating in the way that they have in the past.
So what's next? While this is only a partial preliminary injunction, Pastor Cody Gillum says there's hope in the community.
We are so hopeful that this will be the first step in this long struggle to see justice done. It's without a doubt that this is a nuisance, and we're happy that the judge in this preliminary injunction sees our side of the story and has allowed us some kind of relief. One thing that our lawyers were able to do at this past hearing was get the other side to admit that they were not considering the residents' homes when they scouted out and picked this site. And so that's a pretty big admission.
In a statement, Southern Environmental Law Center senior attorney Sarah Stokes says Belmina residents, just like any community, are entitled to the safe, peaceful use of their homes and property. They did nothing to deserve this chaos. That's why they intend to fight this to the end. A trial to determine the future of the rock quarry is set for April. In Limestone County, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
An Indiana judge dismissed a $1.6 million lawsuit filed by quarry developers back in November. The damages in that lawsuit would have come from community members who opposed the project. Police misconduct has been a hot topic as of late, not just on a national level, but locally too. From shootings involving federal agents in Minneapolis to Decatur with the arrest of John Scott Jr., leading to his death from medical issues he suffered during his arrest. Now, the Huntsville Police Department is looking into one of their own officers' use of force during an arrest just a week ago. A warning, what you are about to see is violent. Fox 54's Gabe Glassman has more.
Oh my God, what the What the
This video, taken by Ramaya Turner, shows the arrest of 37-year-old London Harkey. Huntsville Police Department says an officer saw a car leaving a business on Jordan Lane near Oakwood Avenue that failed to stop on January 21st. Officials say Harkey lost control of the car and crashed as the officer approached. HPD tells Fox 54 Harkey attempted to destroy what appeared to be illegal narcotics by swallowing the substance during the arrest. They add Harkey attempted to run but was apprehended by the officer, leading to the use of force captured here.
An officer is allowed to use the necessary force that is needed to bring an individual into compliance, but once they use any force beyond what is necessary, that is considered to be excessive force.
Latasha McCrary is a senior staff attorney with the Southern Poverty Law Center. We spoke to her about what makes such force necessary.
The courts look at a number of things. So they look at what is the severity of the circumstances. They look at whether or not there is an immediate threat at play. And they also look at things like whether the person is actively fleeing or in flight. Just from the clip that we see, what we see is that we have an individual who is on the ground. The officer appears to be on top of that individual, and the individual seems to be at least under the control of the officer. So any striking or hitting that would happen after that point, courts could consider that to be excessive.
HPD confirms the officer involved remains on administrative duty. In Huntsville, Gabe Glassman, Fox 54 News.
Harkey was initially charged with attempting to elude a police officer, resisting arrest, and tampering with physical evidence. An emergency protest formed at the Colbert County Courthouse today after ICE agents arrested 11 people during a morning operation yesterday. Protesters say they're showing out because they object to how the arrest happened and the effects on local families. Fox 54's Valentina Chalala spoke with some of the demonstrators.
What do we want? ICE out! When do we want it? Now!
According to the Times Daily, ICE offices from Gadsden and Birmingham joined the operation, which started at around 8:30 a.m. and was completed in just a few hours. Those arrested were processed at the Colbert County Jail before being transferred to a holding facility in Etowah County for deportation. Protesters are gathered outside of the Colbert County Courthouse following an ICE operation that led to 11 arrests. Demonstrators tell me this is in response to how the operation was carried out.
They had traffic stops on the highway, and that's not targeted enforcement. That's not taking the worst of the worst. That's just taking people probably trying to get to work. And we're sick of it.
Other protesters say they feel individuals were denied due process, with traffic stops targeting people without clear cause or opportunity to challenge their detention.
These are people who, for the most part, are contributing to our economy, are living lawfully, are here contributing in great ways. And we are targeting them for no reason other than the color of their skin.
Among the protesters was Lisbeth Telez, an immigrant from Mexico who wants her children to learn they have the right to speak out.
I feel very unwelcome here, but at the same time, I know that there's a lot of people that actually care for our hardworking families.
Sheriff Eric Ballantyne commended the protesters for their peaceful conduct, saying they were able to exercise their First Amendment rights while still being respectful to others.
I think that it is the responsibility of every citizen to try to defend their rights.
You have a voice. It doesn't matter what people tell you, you will always have a voice.
Protesters say they hope the demonstration will spark a larger community dialogue on immigration and encourage local leaders to review how operations like this occur. In Tuscumbia, I'm Valentina Chalala, Fox 54 News.
Protesters say they plan to return March 28th for another No Kings March at the courthouse. If you plan on traveling after this weekend and don't yet have a STAR ID, the TSA is warning you about a new fee taking effect at the start of February. The $45 fee is so the TSA can scan and verify a non-compliant driver's license. This doesn't apply if you do have your real ID or other acceptable forms of ID. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo explains.
If you want to fly, the state and federal government are cracking down on having a real ID or a STAR ID here in Alabama. If you don't have one yet or any other forms of identification, you'll have to pay a $45 fee starting February 1st. According to the TSA, it's all to operate a computerized verification system called Confirm ID. The new system will charge you to look at your driver's license if you don't already have a real ID or any other accepted form of ID like a passport, trusted traveler card, or a Department of Defense ID card. Travelers having to use this method will be shown to a TSA kiosk in a separate line outside the security checkpoint where they can pay the $45 fee to fly. And if you do have to pay, the TSA says they expect increased wait times for the people who have to wait in line at the kiosk. The fee pays for 10 days of use, meaning you won't have to verify your ID on the way back home if it's inside that window. The Huntsville International Airport's Mary Swanstrom explains how it'll work.
TSA is recommending go ahead and take care of paying that fee ahead of time so that you're not held up in the line at once you get to the TSA checkpoint. You can go online at pay.gov or at tsa.gov, find the link that you need to go ahead and enter your information, pay that fee, and that way you can set the 10 days of travel that you expect, and then you just bring that confirmation with you. It can be either virtual on your phone or go ahead and print it out and bring it with you to the TSA checkpoint.
When the fee rolls out, Swanstrom says you can pay online before you get to the airport, and you can also pay when you arrive at the TSA checkpoint. In addition, the airport will be offering $50 Visa gift cards in case you're unable to pay at the TSA kiosk. In Huntsville, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
Good information. The TSA says most travelers are already exempt, with 96% of people already having a compliant ID. For more information, go to fox54.com. Officials are warning that the temperatures we are seeing aren't just uncomfortable, they're dangerous. While many of us are bundling up for the commute, the biological toll of extreme cold can set in much faster than you realize. Fox 54's Logan Alexandra Russell tells us what you need to do to protect yourself.
We often treat the cold as a nuisance, an extra layer or a longer commute, but Mother Nature's winter bite can become dangerous in a matter of minutes. In extreme conditions, exposed skin can freeze in under 30 minutes in what is otherwise known as frostbite. At this stage, the damage can be permanent, leading to tissue death and even in severe cases, amputation.
Big thing to watch out for there is if you have any kind of numbness or burning, discoloration, if you start noticing wounds that don't seem to be healing like normal, that kind of thing, you're going to want to seek attention from your doctor.
But the cold doesn't just attack the skin. It can also attack your internal body temperature, causing hypothermia, which is when your core temperature falls below 95 degrees.
It's good to have base layers made of moisture-wicking synthetics or wools. That can actually help quite a lot with keeping that moisture off of your body. There's a saying among hikers that cotton kills because it traps moisture and keeps it on your body, and therefore you lose a lot of heat very quickly, in addition to getting the moisture-related injuries.
Experts say the best defense is the 3-layer rule: a moisture-wicking base, a heat-trapping middle, and a windproof shell. These could be the difference between a night at home or a night in the ER. In Madison, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
It's a stark reminder to take those layers seriously. Health officials also recommend checking on elderly neighbors and those who are more vulnerable to falling ill from the cold weather. And it was a dangerous day to be outside, but for many in North Alabama, the work doesn't stop just because the temperature drops. While most of us are staying tucked away inside, utility crews are out on the front lines. Officials warn that without the right preparation, workers are at risk for serious injuries like frostbite, hypothermia, and even trench foot. Fox 54's Logan Alexandra Russell tells us how workers are staying safe in these frigid conditions.
It's the type of freeze that bites the moment you walk out the door. But for many workers across North Alabama, staying inside is simply not an option. Whether it be the crews keeping our lights on or the teams building our skyline, the offices are a deep freeze today, and experts say preparedness is important in times like this. To the untrained eye, this looks like a dangerous day of work, but for these crews, today is business as usual. While the temperatures are extreme, Huntsville Utilities says it's nothing their crews aren't used to.
Huntsville Utilities has been in this community for many decades, and we are delighted to continue to provide foundational services to this community. We trained for this, we're built for this, and each winter we are ready to continuously serve this community. So during the winter season, our crews that work out in the field continue to do their work.
Staying safe means respecting the rules of cold stress. Without proper gear, workers face quick onset risks like hypothermia and frostbite. Even trench foot is a concern if moisture seeps into boots during long shifts. Landscape manager Tony Ivy says when your office is the outdoors, safety is a priority.
They're layered up and they've got coveralls and they've got the Gore-Tex outer on their jackets to give them some protection from the wind. We always tell them, look, if you get too cold, get in a truck and warm up. Find you a warm place. So you can only stay out there for about 30-45 minutes at a time before you have to go warm up.
While the weather is unrelenting, the workers are too. They're asking the public for just one thing: give them plenty of space on the road so they can finish the job and get back to the warmth safely. In Huntsville, Logan Alexandra Russell, Fox 54 News.
Medical experts say if you suspect someone is suffering from cold stress, move them to a warm place and seek medical attention immediately.
Certainly not necessarily something a report card you'd want to bring home to your parents. I want to see us continue to fight and drive down smoking rates so nobody has to deal with the consequences. No stick at all A's, but there were a few. They got the few best states, including California, Colorado, Delaware, DC, Maine, and Massachusetts. And then the states with the worst grades, scoring F's in all 5 grading categories, were Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, and Alabama.
Former Decatur police officer Mac Marquette's defense team appealed to Alabama Supreme Court in Tuscaloosa this morning, and it's to overturn a lower court's ruling that denied him immunity in the fatal shooting of Steve Perkins back in 2023. You may remember the aftermath of the shooting you see here, which saw hundreds in Decatur protesting for the last few years, seeking justice for Perkins. Fox 54's Caleb Aguayo shows us what happened at today's hearing.
This is the spot where former Decatur police officer Mac Marquette fatally shot Steve Perkins during a car repossession gone wrong back in 2023. Today, Marquette's defense team tried to make the argument it was all in self-defense. Marquette's defense team claims he should have gotten immunity during a court hearing back in November. They argue that Perkins ran out of his home with a gun drawn, but the state says Perkins didn't even know that officers were outside his home. Perkins had previously told the repossession crew to leave, but they called Decatur police and had them assist with keeping the peace. The court ruled in November that Marquette and other officers hid in the shadows while the repossession crew trespassed on the property. The state argues Perkins had a right to defend his property from trespassing, but Marquette's defense team claims he was just following a lawful dispatch, and it all happened in a matter of seconds.
This court can assume Officer Marquette reasonably perceived the need to use deadly physical force when someone unlawfully pointed a gun at him, and this court can conclude that he could not retreat safely in that moment.
Our argument here is simply that Officer Marquette was not acting as an officer when he went to facilitate the repossession that would not have occurred but for his presence. Unless there are further questions, we ask the court to deny the petition.
The hearing lasted for about an hour this morning at the University of Alabama's campus. We'll be reporting any updates to you as they come out. In Decatur, I'm Caleb Aguayo, Fox 54 News.
The Alabama Supreme Court is now taking the oral and written arguments under advisement, but it's still unclear just when the court might make a ruling.
A major change coming to the structure of high school athletics here in the state of Alabama. Good evening and welcome into sports. For years, there's been discussion about whether public and private schools should compete for the same championships or even be allowed the same league here in the Yellowhammer State. Of course, those main complaints have stemmed from the idea that private schools can work from a larger resource base or in some cases even recruit kids away from the public school system. Today, the Alabama High School Athletic Association's Central Board of Control made it clear that they do think there's a problem, and they're fixing it by restructuring the entire classification system, separating private and public schools into separate classes and regions so that public and private schools will no longer compete for the same state title starting next school year.
The landscape of education-based athletics in Alabama is changing, and the AHSAA must continue to adapt. After careful review and after listening to our public and private school members, the Central Board determined that now is the appropriate time to restructure championship play. The Alabama High School Athletic Association remains one unified association serving all member schools. Public and private schools will continue to compete against one another throughout the regular season.
Okay, so other things that came out of this press conference, there will no longer be a private school multiplier where one private school student used to count as 1.3 public school students when calculating enrollment, and therefore what a classification they should be in. True enrollment will now be the only decider. Also, there will no longer be a competitive balanced point system. A private school headmaster and principals committee will be formed, and a private school director of championships will eventually be named. All right, so let's break down what this is going to look like for football starting next fall. There will now be 6 public school classifications, 2 private school classifications inside of the AHSAA. The private classes will be called Private Single A and Private Double A. This is Private Single A here on your screen. Region 4. It features Coosa Christian, Decatur Heritage Academy, Lindsay Lane Christian Academy, Marcel Bible, Shoals Christian, Westbrook Christian, and Whitesburg Christian. Overall, a pretty geographically sound region. The furthest distance will be from Coosa Christian and Gadsden to the Shoals. Here is what our other private school football region will look like next year. Private Double A will have just 2 regions, splitting up the 17 biggest private schools here in the state. Our local teams will be in Region 2, and it's kind of a geographic nightmare, to be honest with you. American Christians in Tuscaloosa, Briarwood Christians in Birmingham, John Carroll Catholic High is also in Birmingham, while Lee Scott Academy is all the way in Auburn. Here locally, Madison Academy, Randolph, St. John Paul II Catholic High School, and Westminster Christian High School are the local teams. So yes, Tennessee Valley squads are now going to have to drive 2 hours plus to Tuscaloosa, an hour and a half plus to the Birmingham area, and 3.5 hours to Auburn for a regular season game. Just like it's been the case all along, though, reclassification will take place every 2 years to address rising and declining enrollment numbers.
Now, Fox 54's Top Teacher, sponsored by Calhoun Community College.
I'm excited to introduce this top teacher. She's only been an educator for roughly 2 months, stepping in to lead her class of 4th graders, already ahead of the curve. She's this week's Fox 54's top teacher. Meet Caitlin Hood from Legacy Elementary School in Madison.
Oh, this is my first year teaching.
And from the looks of it,
I actually came in like towards the middle of the year.
You couldn't tell. Just look at Caitlin Hood's wall.
Debated for a while. I have 4 kids of my own at home. And I had always said maybe once they were all in school that I might be interested in finally using that degree and becoming a teacher.
That dream in the form of a degree became a reality once a 4th grade position at Legacy Elementary School opened up.
Jumped at it and got it and loved it.
She went from working with 4 kids at home to working with 4th graders at school.
Yes, I have to specify all the time at home now. When I'm talking about my kids, I have to also specify my students.
And for Hood, she tries to keep it fun.
Right now we're doing a review game. My class actually got the goose that goes from like class to class my very first week. So that was fun. And that was also the 67th day of school.
Principal Catherine Rogers says what makes Hood the best teacher for her students is making her class feel like home.
I think just loving the children like she does. She loves them like her own. She does great activities with them, and she holds them to a high standard. So I think they will remember all those things about her.
And Hood says she brings her best, hoping her students are at their best.
They have already made leaps and bounds with a lot of English.
But more importantly, Hood wants her students to know whether it's her first year or 4th, they are her children too.
I think the biggest thing that I've always said that I care about is just that they know that I care and that I want the best for them, and yeah.
And yes, we can tell. Congratulations, Caitlin. It's an honor to recognize you. Check out the moment she was surprised as a Fox 54 top teacher on Fox 54 Plus. Download on your TV, watch for free, and don't forget to nominate a top teacher on fox54.com.
Fox 54 Plus has your news, sports, and weather. Start your evening with Fox 54 at 5:30, delivering the latest headlines and live reports straight from the scene. Then stay informed with Fox 54 News at 9, featuring your Tennessee Valley certified most accurate weather impact team, tracking everything from tornado threats to traffic delays during severe weather. Fox 54 Sports Extra brings you more of what sports fans crave, with deeper insights, expert analysis, and all the action that matters most. On Fox 54 Plus, you'll also find Alabama politics, plus 24/7 weather radar and real-time forecasts to keep you ahead of the storm. Looking for a quick recap? Don't miss Fox 54 Week in Review, highlighting the biggest stories of the week. Jumpstart your morning with Morning Rush. Fast-paced news updates, featured with uplifting stories from across the globe. Get your entertainment fix with Getting Real, where we break down movie reviews, top 10 lists, and spotlight the newest film. Die Hard fan? Locked On Sports dives deep into the Crimson Tide, the Tigers, college rivalries, and pro action. True crime warrior style? Killer Cases brings you gripping real-life stories that stick with you. Hungry for more? Cooking with Style serves up mouth-watering recipes that are easy to make and impossible to resist. From movie previews before you head to the theater with Take a Look, to must-know headlines from across the region and around the world with In the News. Watch all of these shows on demand and also on the Fox 54 News app. Available on Android and iOS devices. Streaming 24/7.
Did you know that you can get weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus? Here's how. Go to Fox 54 Plus on your Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Samsung. Once you're on the main screen, push the down arrow and click on the Fox 54 Plus Weather Impact 24/7 block. Here, you'll find radar, current temperatures and conditions, traffic cams, forecasts, and more, all available on demand. Want to get back to the main channel? Just push the down arrow and click on the 24/7 stream button. It's your weather impact updates 24/7 on Fox 54 Plus. Start streaming today.